What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Badly content. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my favorite team for the Retro Cup, featuring Cresselia, which is also my favorite Pokemon for the Retro Cup. Having that Grass Knot Future Sight coverage gives it just about perfect coverage on this entire meta, and in order to build around it, we've got Lantern and Lickitung in the back, both strong answers to Frostlass. Let's jump into the battles here and see how we play this team out. In Game 1, we've got Cresselia on the lead versus Ninetales. Normally, this would be a very bad matchup for the Cress, I should say. But because we're packing Future Sight, we could make a surprise kaboom later on in this battle. So I'm going to swap immediately into my Lickitung to start getting ahead on energy, and I draw out a Superior, which is fine. I would prefer not to have to deal with the Superior later with Lantern. So I'm going to just let the moves go. They're throwing Frenzy Plant. I'm thinking they may either have Frenzy Plant Aerial Ace, and they may have Frenzy Plant and Leaf Tornado, and unfortunately I have to figure out which. But either way, now I'm kind of forced to shield. I would like to get switch advantage here simply because I don't want to see if they have another grass type in the back, for example, but they go for freaking Leaf Tornado. And then we start lagging. There's lag all up in this battle right here. This is just disgusting. So I don't have a straight two sets like I normally do in this video. Again, just like yesterday's video with goodness gracious, I just recorded it and I already forgot what was in it. With the Aurorus, that's what it was. It's just, there's some lag issues. There's a lot of them going on. I know all of you probably know what's been happening with the lag. You've had issues with visual lag, with actual lag, the game timing out, things like that. So, yeah, it's just been miserable. So I bring in I want to win switch there because I don't want them in case they have another grass type in the back. I don't want my Lantern against that, so I would rather put my Lantern against the Ninetales, and then Cresselia gets to be against whatever else is in the back, which again, like we said, because it's got that coverage, it's going to be neutral into just about everything, which thankfully they have a water type in the back, which is kind of what this team is meant to really pick on, was really Lantern, but I'll take a Seeking as a consolation. So I know that their counts are about, I think it's 767 or 766. Either way, I'm going to farm up about 5 more Psycho Cuts, go for the Grass Knot, and I'm going to look to land this Future Sight because they're going to farm me down, and they may think I'm running Moonblast. So if I can land this, this is fine. Future Sight is going to go through, even though I've gotten a couple of Icy Wind debuffs. It's fine. Here, all I need to do is shield this potential overheat because I saw how much damage it did before, and I'd really rather not deal with that again. I could farm down because they have a shield. It's better for me not to let the fast move. It's better for me not to go for a charge move so that they get more fast damage through, so I just farm it down. So my opponent's got a Diggeroth lead, and they immediately safe switch into Tropius, and I quickly realized that I don't really have a really good answer to Tropius. So I decided to bank energy on Cress and swap out. What I should have done here is I should have gone for the Future Sight to chip it so that I can maintain switch advantage here, because I didn't really realize how bad this matchup is for Lickitung, especially when I give them, like, I don't know, 10 turns of free energy for it. So yeah, in hindsight, want to chip and dip here because I don't have a dominant response to Tropius. And again, if this person is playing double grass in the back, Lantern's not going to have a good time. So I also don't want to deal with Bulldoze, the whole bait, you know, mind game with Bulldoze versus Lantern. So I'm going to just go for Body Slam. I can't double shield again. So at this point, I'm just going to have to try and go for Body Slam, but they get to move before I can get to it. But they're now at a range where I should be able to hopefully farm them down with Cresselia. And that's what I'm going to try to do here. Is I'm just going to go for a hard farm down. I'm going to eat a move. That's fine. Whatever they have, like, this is a lot of energy, and Future Sight is very impactful. There's not very much in this meta, if anything at all, that resists it, other than Psychic types. I don't think, because there's no Steel types, there's no Dark types, and the only other thing that resists Psychic is Psychic itself. My opponent comes in with a Jellicent. Out of habit, I do go for the one Psycho Cut. It is still some extra damage. They're going to shield up the Grass Knot. I'm going to go for Grass Knot number 2, and because now I know what their whole team is, I'm okay with bringing in my Lantern here to get ahead on energy if I want to, but instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to farm up, and I have to make a decision here. Do I shield this or no? I don't think it was enough. I'm pretty sure back when I was playing this game, I knew it wasn't enough for a Shadow Ball, so I'm like, I probably live a Surf. Go for the Grass Knot. Gonna come in with my Lantern, and I'm gonna try to win the ones here. If my opponent goes up to the Bulldoze, then I got a problem. They're starting to build up, so I do have to keep in mind that they also had no energy when they swapped out. So I can go for Surf here. I probably should have gone for the Thunderbolt. I thought they would shield it, so that's why I went for the Surf. I don't know why I don't know. Sometimes you don't expect things to happen the way that they normally would. My opponent also doesn't shield that surf. I don't know if they know that they're going to lose. I'm going to no-shield this and call a bait. It's a body slam. Go, go, go. We're going to go ahead and... I don't know. My brain just shut off for like 2 seconds there. They're going to go for another body slam. At this point, I can just farm down with Cress because that fast move damage registered, and that's going to be a good game. That was close. My opponent not shielding made that really awkward, but either way, we're still able to make it through. So wall rain, great. Everything on this team beats wall rain, so we're chilling here. I'm going to stay in, but I'm going to farm past the grass knot because an Icicle Spear really doesn't bother me. And my opponent just reads me like a book. They're like, oh, he's gonna throw 2 over, and no, they just use the force, I'm sure. But I go into my Lickitung here after hitting them with that resisted grass knot. I don't really see a need for the, getting more energy, especially because they're running Hex. They're probably running Fire Blast. I really don't want to give them a large Hex. I really want to give them a large surplus of Hex energy, because that would be bad, because if Lickitung has to take 2 Fire Blasts, that's a problem. I know that's not enough for a second Fire Blast, so I can let that go, and I have a Power Whip ready to go. I shield this up because I have 2 Power Whips, and they are not at 2 Icicle Spears yet. So I'll be able to get at least one of these off, and then go for one more to get the shield, and I guarantee that they're not going to let both of these through. So they get the shield for the first one, and now once again, we're back here, we're chilling. We've got our shield back. We land the Power Whip, and I'm able to get to a body slam. My opponent makes another amazing catch. I'm going to be completely honest. This trainer was really on point with our catches. However, I now have a Cresselia with Future Sight, and they may not expect this. Now they're like, wow, he brought in Cresselia into my Trevenant, and they let the Future Sight through. Moonblast does not do nearly as much damage, but now I can save this shield for my Lantern, because they basically left themselves down to 1 HP, which I can just come with my Lantern, farm down, and at this point, they just get farmed down by my Lantern. I can even no-shield a potential Earthquake here because it won't KO. This is not a Shadow Wall Rain. I'm not afraid of it. They just go for the bait, which definitely seals their fate here. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Getting into this next battle against... another trainer that I actually know than my name, Mr. Tamagotchi. Hopefully I said that correctly. Welcome to the Felrose corner. You're about to get future sighted. That poor Venusaur has no idea what's about to hit it. I've noticed that... no disrespect, man. This was a great battle. I overfarm a little bit. I don't want to make it really obvious that I'm packing Future Sight, so I farm up just by a bit more, and I'm going to hit it, and we get the Kaboom, and my button's not in front of me. Here, hold on, there it is. We get the Future Sight on the Venusaur, so the opponent now is going to swap into their Shadow Charizard, which, this is scary. I swear, I'm thinking they're going to bait here. Like, there's no way they're going to bait here. They just took that move. But no, they don't bait. Very nice no bait. They're, team no bait, honestly. Don't bait unless you really have to. Like, just go for the big move at that point. You're already, you are already down a whole Pokemon. Like, it makes complete and total sense to me to go for that Blast Burn on hindsight. I was hoping that was a bait. But... that's fine. Lantern gets to come in on the Charizard, but the opponent now has a Shadow Swampert, so this is very dangerous. I have 2 shields, but my Cresselia is definitely within Hydro Cannon range at this point, so I'm going to have to manage myself here a bit, and I'm just going to stay in for a bit. I want to get that second shield, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to... they shield an Earthquake, which this person clearly has proven to me they don't know how to bait. They just don't. They're like, no, you're going to take a nuke and like it, or you're going to shield. So... huge respect to this battler for just going for the nukes, because I am sometimes too scared to do it, and I'm always like, man, I wish I had just gone for the nuke. So opponent's going to be able to get that off. My Lantern has some energy, thankfully. I'm going to be able to shield this move. They're just going to go for the Hydro Cannon bait, which really, really sucks to me. But they're also going to go into their Charizard and hit me with a Blast Burn. This is going to be really painful. Leaves me in a very low HP rate, but thankfully I've got about a Surf and a half. So as long as that Swampert's not within 3 Hydro Cannon, 3 moves of a Hydro Cannon, or 2 rather, actually it was 2. I'm going to be able to get the Surf off and take this game. It was very close, despite the one shot of the Venusaur. That was a very close and well-played game. Good game to Mr. Tamagotchi. Again, I hope I said that right. Dunsparce leads, and been seeing these everywhere. Again, shout out to Mr. Human Catch-A-Bug, who came out with the team of Dunsparce Double Ghost. Absolutely destructive team. Very good for this meta. But the Dunsparce, I'll stay in. I'll throw the Future Sight here with good timing. If they do decide to let me farm up, I'll go straight to 10, because the number is 14710. But they catch really nicely on a Frostlass. But the thing is that this backline hard counters the Double Ghost line so hard that this energy now is going to carry over into the Dunsparce matchup, and now I'm going to be able to throw body slams or power whips or whatever I so choose into the Dunsparce here, which means that it's going to make the job easier for Cresselia. And I'm reading that there's probably going to be a Jellicent in the back, or perhaps another ice type, but I would not expect an ice type because Dunsparce is weak to fighting. So there's probably going to be, you know, there could be a flyer, it could be anything that's basically a counter to a fighter. So I went for the power whip initially just because I wanted to get the move off with extra damage. In hindsight, probably could have made it to 3 body slams by doing so. My opponent throws right away here, not willing to let me get closer to the next body slam. Respect it. Gonna take that drill run, and then I'm gonna come in with my Cresselia. My opponent's got Jellicent, I've got Lantern. We're gonna have this game on lock because Cresselia can easily finish this game off. I'm gonna shield a potential Shadow Ball. Opponent typically doesn't want to bait in this situation because if I decide to tank it, because I know I can take a Shadow Ball. So the first move that they throw is typically going to be a tanky one if it's against something that's bulkier like Lantern. Opponent just concedes at that point. They know what's going to happen. So good game to them. But this team does quite literally counter that team quite nicely. So we've got a Lantern lead and they're not swapping out. That means that they may be core broken by the crest. There could be something in the back like a Medicham or something that normally wouldn't want to tank a Moonblast or a Grass Knot. So I'm going to wait that one turn, and I should do this more often, but sometimes I'm just so bad about it. But I wait that one turn to make sure that they don't go for a catch, and then I go for the Grass Knot. It's something that I've tried to start teaching my students, but really it becomes a reflex thing. Because this whole team is really strong to Lantern, I do decide to pivot out. I want to see what's in the back that doesn't want to see my Cresselia, and it's a Shadow Machamp. Nice thing about Shadow Machamp here is that it can't really tank moves that well. And I can still get off one more body slam, I thought. Actually, I didn't know how much damage that does. It's been a while since I played that matchup. But I'm down, they're down a shield, and I can come in with Crest, and I can farm this down. Oh, is this the... Oh, I think this is the game where all my fast moves became, like, twice the length. So you'll notice, if you look closely here, my Psycho Cuts and my Thunder or my Sparks are all going to take like an extra turn, and it's ridiculous, and I lose because of it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave it up to Lantern. This person's going to go for the Surf. Cresselia, once again, we're doing it for science, right? We're seeing how much damage something does. I'm pretty sure that that's a Surf. Now my opponent, I'm going to swap in. Now look at this, look at this, look at this. All right, so for right now, it's okay. For right now, it's okay, right? So they're going to throw a move. That's fine. They still have... They have a Frostlass in the back. Makes sense. Okay, gonna go for the Thunderbolt just to guarantee the extra damage here. Then I can follow up with a Surf. I'm gonna overfarm a bit. Make sure that I can get to a move against the opponent's Lantern before they can take me out. But here, this is one of the most ridiculous things. And actually, I would cut these kinds of games out because they don't really show the gameplay side of things, which is what I prefer to show. But my opponent should not be able to... Look at this. They get like 7 sparks in, 6 or 7 sparks in before I can even get 3 or 4 in. They're going to get a whole Thunderbolt. They were basically energy dry. And because my Crest has no energy, unfortunately, I'm going to lose that game. So, you know, heartbreaking loss, and I hate when that kind of stuff happens because it's just like, I really wish this game would just function normally and it wouldn't have these problems. But we restart the game and we come into the next battle and I'm against Cresselia, and this mirror is awkward because, yes, my Lickitung does well. However, on the other hand, my Lantern does not. So I have to stay in here and I have to play this out. I want to at least get the Cresselia down into a range where maybe Lantern can finish it later. So I'll go for Grass Knots. Moonblast would be much better to go for here, but I'm not running Moonblast, which should be pretty obvious to my opponent probably at this point. So Waterfall. Moonblast is going to connect. It does do slightly more damage than the Grass Knot. I get to the Grass Knots a little quicker, but what I'm really looking to do here is probably I'm just going to try to leave this in farm range for Lickitung. I don't really see any point here in like trying to go for a farm down or trying to do much of anything else. So they get the farm down on me. Fine. I'm going to come in with my Lickitung. I'm going to lick down, and whether they get to a move or not doesn't matter. But thankfully they don't. And so now they're going to come in with Primeape. And so they're going to have to shield. They are going to have to shield here at some point because they have to be running close combat or cross top to really take me out. But I immediately pivot into my Lantern here just to try and get my Lickitung away from the Primeape. My opponent does threaten me with a close combat, I do decide to shield it up, and I'm going to go immediately for the Surf because I feel like at this point, this might actually come close to KOing. They shield up the Surf, so I also think, okay, maybe they're weak to Lantern in the back. My opponent over farms here, goes past the Night Slash, maybe they are going to the close combat, but Surf will take it out, and the opponent's got a Frostlass in the back. They are shieldless. I still have a shield. This is basically good game here. Lickitung can come in, and I can save the shield here for Lickitung and just do as much damage with my Lantern as I can before they take me out. And yeah, they're going to go for a Shadow Ball here. If they go for the Avalanche, then I get the Surf off and win anyway. They're going to go for the Shadow Ball, take out my Lantern, and then Lickitung just licks down, has a shield, Power Whips it, we're done. I don't even think I get to the Power Whip. I just go for the Body Slam here just to try and prevent them from throwing an extra move here. Really doesn't make a difference to the gameplay here, but anyway, so that's a good game. Well played. And we're going to go into the next game with Cresselia and Galvantulon. Oh my gosh, this is miserable. This is literally miserable. I have no safe anything in this matchup. What I should be doing in this matchup in hindsight, now that I've played it a couple times, you want to go into the Lantern here because you can go for the Surf before they get to that lunge. So you can potentially threaten damage or a shield off of that Lantern, or off of, off of the Galv with your Lantern, if you go into that situation. Now, my Lickitung's sitting here with some, damage off of it. It's got a debuff on it. We're not in a good situation here. So Lickitung is going to be kind of miserable, and I'm going to try to get this Altaria down to a point where I can see if I can farm it maybe, but they've got a ton of energy. I have to let this go. So this is really, this is really dangerous. What I need to do here is try to come out of this matchup with a bunch of extra energy for Cresselia and just try to threaten that Galv with something. That's all I got. Because Galv, if I leave my Cresselia to the, if Cresselia goes down here and this Lantern is all I've got left, like I undercharged the Grass Knot. I don't know if I should have or not, but I was really trying to get a Psycho Cut down here. Opponent gets to another move. I can't go down shields to this Galv. And I'm just so low that I'm not going to be able to get anything done. This 1 Volt Switch will take me out here, so they're going to be able to take me out. And then Lantern is all by itself against whatever they've got in the back with Galv. So I'm just hoping that whatever they have in the back might be weak to Lantern. My opponent's going to go for their lunge here. I have to shield this because I have to keep my Lantern healthy. I'm hoping that maybe they decide they're just going to let this go. They have a Frostlass in the back, so yeah, knowing that they had Altaria in the back, I don't know if there was much that could have been done about this game, to be completely honest. This kind of feels like a soft but hard counter in a way because of Galv and Altaria just being such a strong combination against my team here. Plus, with this attack drop, it actually prevents me from getting enough damage off to finish this thing off in one more Surf. So I do believe that the debuff made the difference here, because that would have definitely KO'd and I wouldn't have had to shield this move. Or actually, no, I'm not shielding anything because I'm on shield. I wouldn't have had to tank a move here, and then I'm pretty sure that I could have even gotten a couple of Surfs in here before they go down. So it doesn't matter at this point, though. Unfortunately, this is not going to be enough damage to take out the Lantern, or take out the Galv, I should say. So well played to my opponent. Galv is an absolute core breaker for this team because it's just awkward because of the debuffs. You have really no good play against it. So you just kind of have to try and maneuver something. Sometimes you need to capitalize on potentially an opponent's mistake. But that's going to be a good game. I don't see a whole lot of Galvantulus, so thankfully I wouldn't really call it a problem for the team. I've only seen really the one. So the next game we're going to have Deoxys against our Cresselia in the lead. And again, another awkward Psychic type lead that I can't really swap out of, and I can't go for Moonblast, so that's also really awkward. So we're going to play this matchup out. We're going to go straight Grass Knot, try and get this Deoxys down low enough to, if I need to swap out and pivot into Lickitung or something, I can. But at this point, I'm trying to use Crest to whittle this thing down. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just swap straight into the Lickitung now that I've landed some energy. I want to make sure that my Cresselia is still healthy enough to deal with something in the back, like Dragonair, which really, I mean, Dragonair really isn't like a hard counter here, but it can mow through things really nicely with Dragon Breath. My opponent decides to let that go, and that may be a mistake. I think I can lick down faster than they can get to another charge move against me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and try and commit to this lick down, but instead I kind of chicken out and I go for the Body Slam instead. I probably should have just committed to the lick down, but I didn't think I was going to make it. I think that their Dragon Breaths were actually adding up a little bit faster. So because Deoxys comes in, it's taking super effective damage from the licks. I'm going to be able to go for this Body Slam and actually threaten to almost KO this Deoxys, which now makes this much more manageable. Could even farm down with Lantern or Crest if I want to here. So I try to go for a Grass Knot, but they actually make it to a move before I get to one, my Grass Knot. So now they come in with the Dugong. And unfortunately, for my opponent. I have Lantern in the back, and they spent the shield on the Grass Knot. So I'm actually going to go for the next Grass Knot because I know that it's 5 Ice Shards to the Drill Run or the Ice Shard the first time around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this Grass Knot, get the second shield, come in with my Lantern, no shield this move because... Actually, I shielded it because I expected it to be a Drill Run. I don't know. Normally, I think I would have no shielded that, but in that particular situation, I was just really feeling like this is probably a Drill Run. And if it was an Icy Wind, then yeah, that would have sucked. So we get the Crest into Dunsparce lead. We've already seen how we play this out. We just throw the Future Sight with good timing. So I'll take this time to talk about my not-so-sponsor. My patrons are actually... They're my sponsors, technically. And if you join that Patreon Discord, you do get access to all of these teams, all of my tips, my guides, my meta-analysis, everything that comes out on this channel, and then some. All of that before it hits YouTube, early access. You get unlimited access to, you know, ask questions and get help with your teams and everything else that, honestly, if you need something, we're there. Myself and the whole community. So, if you'd like to, you can join us at patreon.com/XehrFelrose. There's a link in the description and pinned comment. And also after the last battle, which we've got a couple more still, but it'll pop up down here underneath me here. A little big Patreon and logo's going to come up. But also, if you're looking for coaching, right, trying to hit that next level of your gameplay, trying to hit Ace rank for the first time, even if you want to hit Legend too, all of it's important and it's good milestones to hit. If you're just trying to get better at the game, I would be more than happy and honored, to be honest. I love helping people in this game, just helping people get better. There's so many good stories that come out of that kind of thing. But you can find me on Metafy. Link in the description for that in the pinned comment as well. Also, you know, follow me on Twitter because why not? And to finish off the shilling, if you like the content, hit that subscribe button and like the video too. All that stuff comes out and helps. I do all this to support my family, so that's all. It all means so much when someone decides to, you know, like a video or subscribe or come to me on Patreon, because that is just what allows me to, you know, help keep things running around here. So get the kids their birthday presents and whatnot. So anyway, we're going to come into this Frostlass with a Lantern. They are loaded on energy by a little bit, but I have a shield. I'm going to shield Shadow Ball, and they're within surf range, so they're going to try to catch on the Dunsparce. I throw right away, knowing that they just swapped, because I don't want to get so low that they end up getting to me with a Drill Run and then they hit me with a Shadow Ball after. But thankfully, they concede because they weren't going to be able to do that. Noctowl lead. Awkward. Very awkward. Have to stay in here. Landing a Future Sight is crucial because they're going to think it's a Moonblast probably, but they can land Shadow Ball back at me, so this is a losing matchup for Cresselia. At some point, I hope to pivot. You know, I do look to catch the Shadow Ball on my Lickitung, but they go for one more fast move, and it was just one of those things where I'm just, you know, trying to use the Force to catch a move, and it doesn't work out in my favor. If you can, you know, you can get lucky enough to catch that Shadow Ball, great. That's exactly what you want to do. They come in with a Medicham, and I'm like, okay. Noctowl, Medicham, bet you there's a Lantern back there. And we're going Lantern hunting with this team, let's be honest. Power-Up Punch is not going to do me any favors because I'm only going to get to one more charge move. I reach for the Power Whip, and thankfully I get there. Again, Power Whip does slightly more damage than the Body Slam does. And if you're only going to get to one more move, go for that Power Whip. If you're able to get to more than one move, Body Slam's the way to go. My opponent's running Power-Up Punch, Ice Punch, so I'm going to completely farm them down here. They get to another Ice Punch right before I'm able to finish farming down, which is really unfortunate, but I'm looking to save my shield for this Lantern, because if they do indeed have a Lantern in the back, I cannot go down shields. My opponent swaps in, I save the energy because I know I lose CMP. They throw the Sky Attack, I'm running out of breath. They have a Lantern in the back, and honestly, that's kind of what I expected, right? This is like one of the most, like, this is a Great League team. This is a open Great League team. They bring in the Lantern. I'm going to go straight for the Thunderbolt. I actually am going to look to shield up their first move because it's probably... Never mind, I guess I'll just eat my words. Past Me was on some stuff, all right? I think Past Me was probably looking to sweep the Cresselia. I think that was what the whole plan here was. I'm going to get the Surf off. They're going to shield. This is a CMP. I'm going to save 2 shields for Cresselia. I've got like 100 energy on the Cress. All I need to do with Cress is get these Grass Knots off and somehow land a Future Sight against the Noctowl. Now, they go ahead and let that go. I've got 2 shields. What I need to do here is they've seen the Future Sight. They know how much it does. So I need to successfully bait with Grass Knot. Get this shield. Need to go for the Future Sight before we get farmed down with 1 HP. Cresselia is getting that future sight. And just because of that, we're going to get an honorary against the Noctowl. That's going to be our last game for today. Again, Cresselia, Lantern, Lickitung, really strong Retro Cup team, clapping a 4-1, and aside from that, would have been a 5-0 if it wasn't for that stupid lag issue. That was good. Now let's, that's it, man. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.